But let me turn our attention now to Alhaji Shehu Gabam. Give us an understanding of what lies ahead of Justice Kudirat Kekereekun. And looking at Justice Kayode Ariwoola, the last few years in Nigerian judiciary, have we seen a movement in the forward direction, or how would you assess Nigerian judiciary?
Well, first, let me thank him for his services to the country as an outgoing CJN of Nigeria. Certainly, during his time, Nigeria have witnessed one of the most controversial and most patriotic judgment in terms of the liberation of the local government, the financial autonomy of the local government. That directly credit goes to him. We thank him for that services to the nation or to the country as a whole. Be that as it may, the judiciary is the biggest threat the country is facing, more than any other period in time. The biggest victims of judiciary are the politicians, and the biggest beneficiaries are also the politicians, due to conflicting interests that are surrounding the judges that are presiding over some very sensitive cases. And that is why you see our democracy is going down. And it really goes specific to the issue of why we are having INEC as an institution that is saddled with responsibility of conducting election. And then you have a judiciary who take away the victory of people who won election and give it to another person. These are major contradictions that we have to correct as a nation. We cannot have two institutions established by law. One to conduct election and declare a winner, and then the judicial arm of a government to look at the whole issues and change the narrative or apply technicalities or whatever interest to announce somebody else who have not followed the process as the winner of the election. This is very retrogressive to our country. It's not helpful to our system. And I hope and I pray that the new Justice of the Federation, Justice Kudirat, just agreeing with what he has said, she has a very outstanding record. From what I heard from the background, from the check, she's a very credible person. You will hardly find somebody saying something that is not really credible about her. She's quite competent to be there. We do hope she will correct some of the ills that have been established in the judiciary. We do hope that she will ensure the NJC is up and doing in terms of prosecuting judges that have corrupted this system. If you could remember, not too long ago, recently, the NBS have published clearly, and it has been published in other journals around the world, that our judiciary is one of the most corrupt judiciary in terms of cash delivery. The figures were mentioned. This is very damaging to the nation. This is very damaging to the judiciary that was once respected around the world. If I could remember, our judiciary was one of those that trained some of the judicial institutions around African countries. We have descended so low that we compromise virtually all processes. You hardly find a judge who look at issues based on merit and deal with them based on merit. We've seen it recently. It happens to us in Kogi. It's still before the Supreme Court. And I want to thank you for that analysis with Chijoka, given the fact the way it is. That was exactly what we presented. We followed the Supreme Court judgment on the presidential election, on the Plateau election, Nasarawa election. We comply with it completely and comprehensively. But technicalities were brought in from the courts, simply because there are fixated interests that need to be serviced. Shehu is like, there's a meat you brought to me, and I'm swallowing saliva to eat the meat. But you say you're not giving me the meat because I have no teeth. But I can chew the meat and feel the same. That is what the judiciary is doing. And I hope that by the record of the incoming CJN, she will do everything humanly possible as a mother of the nation that will preside over moral issues to ensure that there's justice, there's fairness, there's equity in our justice system in the country. But so far, I believe the outgoing CJN have done a bit, but a lot of damage were made to the judiciary.
I mean, we do know what it means for our reputation globally. And we do know what a strong judiciary, unbiased bench could be for the progress of our development of our nation. But if there is one thing that the incoming CJN could do to straighten that record and give Nigeria a new, brand new personality globally, even locally, what would that be for you?
First is for her to select teams of judges that have credibility, have record, and assign them to handle sensitive cases, especially in judiciary. Largely, some of the landmark judgments they have handled are political cases. Now, we still deal with political cases. There are fearless judges in the Supreme Court today. We have. And then if there are serious cases, what we expect from the new CJN is to select those judges that have credibility, have morality, have decency, have belief in the unity of Nigeria, have belief in fairness, justice, and equity to deliver on those cases. Otherwise, there is no way, there's nothing anybody can do. It's clear that the outgoing CJN have not done much in terms of purging the corruption in the judiciary, in terms of creating dissonance in the judiciary, in terms of ensuring there is discipline and there's precedents that have been respected by the lower court after the Supreme Court judgments. You know, you see abuse of judgment by the lower court that have been settled by the Supreme Court of Nigeria. So these are issues, gamut of issues that have bedeviled the country, and it increased the level of insecurity in the country, because the moment a citizen cannot get justice, he will take law into his own hands. You know, so it added a lot of value, a lot of crisis to the insecurity that we are facing today as a nation. So I hope and I pray, given her record, given her credibility, given her level of sincerity, and the kind of testimony people are saying about her, she will start very firmly. She will leave a legacy behind. She will leave a reformed judiciary. She will leave a judiciary that is a referral point throughout Africa and the world as a whole.
The news that just came in just before we came on air, and Mr. Bayo Onanuga talking about the purchase of a new aircraft, and that is what the president used. The story had also come on, and a lot of people have been debating whether or not the need or otherwise for that kind of situation. They've said there is a new aircraft. It was bought with a far lower price compared to the market price. But what would you have to say? It's going to be a change of an aircraft bought about 4 or 5 years ago under the President Olusegun Obasanjo government.
Well, first, I'm not surprised at all. Listening recently to the debate in the Senate, trying to run away from the issue that there was no such thing before them. And of course, we had a long time ago that the aircraft have been purchased, even before tabling it before the National Assembly. I'm not surprised at all. I heard about it almost about 2 weeks ago, that the aircraft have been purchased. It's in Paris and is landing in Nigeria, and the president will use it for official trip. It shows that we are not communicating with one another. It shows that Nigerians' views do not really matter in terms of contribution, adding value, the hardship the nation is facing, rejiggling of the economy, and ensuring that strategic policies are being applied to alleviate the sufferings of Nigerians. I think it's an act of insensitivity on the side of the government to bluntly behave the way they behave, as if nothing will happen at all. The lifespan of an aircraft can last for 30, 40 years, depending on the maintenance culture of those aircraft. Nigeria have the capacity to maintain what they have, because largely I know a lot of people that own aircraft and they take them for upgrade and maintenance and so on and so forth. And I don't know what we are going to do with Airbus as a country. What will the president do with the Airbus? You know, to carry 200, 300 people to where? You know, maybe we are trying to copy America. We are trying to copy some of these countries that have Airbus as official jet for their own country. Economically, I have not seen the sense of it. Well, in terms of trying to show that we are up and doing, we have the capacity, we have the resources, so perhaps this is just what they want to achieve at the international level. But domestically, given the sensitive nature of the situation and how people have reacted to it, I thought the president would be sober in terms of this kind of showbiz. That yes, I heard you, I have listened to you, there's nothing I can do about it. He just went ahead to do what he wants to do. I pray well for him. I pray that not just him, other leaders that will succeed him will enjoy the aircraft. That's the best I could say for now.
I mean, so the question is not whether or not we need a plane for the president.
Not at
we
all.
do. Whether it's private, and there are a lot of people who compare the Nigerian situation with what happens in Kenya or other climes. But the question is the timing, the safety issues,
yes,
and the economic conditions in the country. If you were President Tinubu's shoe, what would you do?
I wouldn't have bought that aircraft.
Even if you got it at that kind of price, almost a giveaway price.
No, you see, if you go and check our aircraft, forget about the politics surrounding the presidential air fleet that we have, simply because they want to justify why they should change it. We can maintain them, we can upgrade them, because aircraft are being upgraded. All the system can be changed. So the president at this difficult time that we are facing extreme hardship, what I expect him to do is to take them for maintenance, for overhauling, and so on and so forth. They are still in good shape. It's a pure politics to suggest that the life of the president is in danger. After all, it's not the only president that have problem with the presidential jet. If you could remember, other presidents have similar issue. President Buhari have similar issue with it at one point or the other. But usually our maintenance culture has been very, very poor. Now, let's see how this one will go, whether they will give it 100% maintenance culture, or will end up having these gaps of having problem with the aircraft in one way or the other because of the lack of maintenance culture. So it has to do with our seriousness as a nation to maintain what we have, to service what we have. It's not about the aircraft. It's not about buying a brand new car. But if you buy a brand new car, you don't take it to mechanic to service it constantly. Any problem, you solve it. The car will be
So you
stranded.
see it as insensitive to buy a plane at this time?
It is insensitive. The president knows it is insensitive.
But would you rather have President
Nigerians
Tinubu travel on a commercial airline out of the country for official assignment?
The British Prime Minister traveled on commercial airline. It's not just Nigeria. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying, it hasn't gotten to that. Our aircraft can deliver president wherever he wants to go, as it is right now. The politics can be created simply because they are desperate to have a new aircraft. They bought a brand new official car for the president. It's one of the best in the world. They bought a brand new aircraft right now. So you can see the sequence of the activities, despite the economic hardship, despite the reactions of Nigerians, despite the plea by Nigerians that they should temper justice with mercy. They should show that, look, they understand the situation of the country, the suffering of the people, so they should be moderate in their approach in terms of expenditure, in terms of management, managing the psychology of Nigerians.
Let's take a break now, but when we come back, more to talk about on this program on some of these issues after this break.